Technology, man. Sup guys, ignore the design change. As you can see, my Minecraft skin wasn't a joke, but that's not the point of this video. Let's just move on. If you read the title of this video and are some little Timmy on your mom, dad, or old grand's iPad, we got loads of those here, you probably got a decent understanding of what this video is about. If not, let me break it down for you. I don't like microslop that much anymore. P controller though, yeah, the Xbox controller is pretty fucking cool. But yeah, so I moved to Linux. I hesitated at first because I tried Linux before about 3 years ago, and I tried a Arch-based distro known as Endeavor OS, I think, I don't know. And it had not the smoothest experience. Like, sure, I liked the OS itself, but Steam VR did not work at all. Tools I necessarily needed were not available, and the alternatives to those tools, well, they crashed about every 5 minutes. Fuck you, GIMP! However, due to how tired I've gotten of Windows and being forced by my buddy Sprixer, oh my god, epic shout out, what? Who would have thought? What? I decided to give Linux one more try. Well, it's been at least a few weeks, and things are going so well I already deleted my Windows install.
That fucking bird that I hate!
This time I got another Arch-based distro, Catchy OS, and all of the issues I mentioned before are just gone. Of course, the necessary tools I used back on Windows still aren't available yet, but the alternatives I have now work just as well, if not even better sometimes. And guess what? I haven't even installed Wine yet. Or Windows VM.
Actually, that's a lie. I did, but what I wanted to use it for went horribly wrong, which we'll talk about later in this video.
I'm impressed by how much an OS can improve in the span of 3 years. Or maybe my new specs just suit it a lot more. Or, I don't know, maybe I just got the right distro for me this time? I don't know. This video will not be some kind of guide or advisable video, but rather more about how I've been doing my daily activities on Linux. Think of this as a blog sort of video. Highly recommend this dude's content, by the way. Maybe even more than my own. Anyways, enough of the intro. Time to actually head into it. As you always would with doing things on the almighty, Super Mario Galaxy sticker-covered computer machinery technology contraption that I barely even understand myself, let's talk about what this polite non-bad boy with horrible cable management has to offer. This is actually the first PC that I probably built myself, which you can probably tell. Yeah, that is indeed a SSD just lying on top of there. For the parts, I went for an MSI Gaming, I don't know what model number, I'll show it on screen, motherboard. 32GB of Crosshair RAM, I believe DDR4, I don't know, I forgot. A Ryzen 5 5600X CPU and a RTX 4060 as GPU. From Gigabyte, if anyone wondered. Oh, it says it on the card. The case, though, is genuinely just whatever looks nice and cheap. Hey, leave me in my favorite color alone, man. The hard drives are genuine e-waste shit. Like, I have absolutely no idea how long these are even gonna last for, or what brand they're even from. But they get the job done. Now, I'm also gonna mention some hardware that isn't necessarily my PC or related to it, but is important for the video. I have a original HTC Vive as VR headset, and I also have a Elgato HD60 as capture card. Fuck you mean 2 generations too old to work on Linux? Oh my god, man. Well, that was it for the hardware. I guess this section of the video is a quick one. I feel like this part is going to be pretty quick too. There's not much to mention other than it working. Installing Steam was literally quicker than on Windows. You just write down a command and say yes a few times and boom, there it is. All of my games work perfectly fine, even stuff like GD with Geode and MegaHack. However, now we get to the part that I have to admit that I lied. Yes, I actually did install Wine, but not regular old Wine. I'm talking about Steam's compatibility tool known as Proton. Proton is a lot better though. Setting it up is just a few mouse clicks and it just works. Every game I got on Steam that I tried playing so far all run fine. Sometimes they take a bit longer to launch, but there's no lag or long in-game loading times or anything. And in my opinion, Proton works well enough to be its own thing. So technically I indeed did not install Wine. I got away with that one. Also, dumb fact, that other time I tried Linux 3 years ago, I installed Wine to run the Windows version of Steam for whatever reason. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with me at the time. And just don't do that, it literally grants you the worst results possible. And let's talk about games outside of Steam. Think of Minecraft, for example. Minecraft Java Edition and its launcher are natively available on Linux, but as you would expect, it's just not the most mod-friendly launcher to use for this game. If you don't want to use mods, it's perfectly fine, but because I actually like shaders, I decided to avoid Microsoft's little thingy of a launcher. Some of you may know and use Modrinth for Minecraft mods, and that too is actually available on Linux, but it crashes every time you actually try launching the game. And this isn't a me issue either. I checked the web and there's a lot of people dealing with this. But do not worry, Prism Launcher is also available on Windows 2 actually, which to my surprise actually lets you browse Modrinth's mod catalog, basically. In short, the game itself works perfectly, and if you want mods, just use Prism Launcher. Minecraft Bedrock Edition, however, is not supported on Linux. If you look at the official launcher, you can tell because the option for this version of the game just isn't there. However, the community has made an unofficial workaround to get this game running anyway, but I haven't gotten to try this out yet. Because even though I do own it, I barely play it, so I can't say whether it works well or not.
What?
Well, onto, Predator Paradise. That's what Roblox is called now, right? Am I wrong?
What the fuck? No!
Roblox is yet another game that does not officially support Linux but has a workaround, and this time I've actually set it up and tried it. Roblox can be played on Linux through this tool called Sober, which does all the setup mostly by itself and works great. It does things in an interesting manner as it downloads a Android package of the game through Google Play's servers and then kind of port and modifies it to run on your Linux system. Because of this, the game's menus are the exact same as Roblox on your phone or tablet when you're in landscape mode. This is not a big deal though. It may feel a little bit off at first, but your keyboard, mouse, and controller work fine, so there isn't much to get used to. Once Sober is completely set up, it gets a shortcut in your app launcher, and launching it from there will feel completely normal. Roblox launches as if it were an official build and asks you to log in as expected. Whew. Finally, I can stop talking about that monster of controversies. Time for Epic Games. Oh, cool. That is another case of unsupported needs workaround. Yeah. This one isn't really surprising. Did you really think Epic Games of all things would spend their time getting everything working on Linux? No, of course not. That's why we have Heroic Games instead. I believe this also supports other kind of game launchers, but I forgot which. This one was pretty quick to set up too, and if I understand it right, it actually utilizes Steam's Proton to launch your games, which I think is pretty cool. You can log in like you usually would, and install your games as they appear in the library. I don't know if it can detect installed games though, because I wiped all my Epic Games files when I moved to Linux, so I just reinstalled everything in Heroic. Unfortunately, not every game works due to anti-cheat shenanigans, but conveniently, Heroic Games actually tells you which games likely will or will not work as you install them. From my library, which is tiny, this has only been the case for Fortnite, which I only play once in a blue moon anyway. I tested Fall Guys with this and it ran perfectly, although it did take me 3 games to get a win, because I suck at this game. Well, those were all the PC stuff, so let's head to the part that is very risky to talk about, but I don't really care. Plus, I won't mention where to get the games or emulators, so that probably helps a lot. Let's start off with the oldest of these, the N64. For the Nintendo 64, I used Parallel Launcher, which was extremely easy to set up and runs just as good as you can see. Oh my god, I really fell off with my BLJs, this is so embarrassing. There's actually nothing worth mentioning here, you can play the very first 3D Plumber game just fine. Now we go Wii and GameCube emulation. Dolphin, not to be mistaken with the file browser, also works perfectly fine from my experience. However, I've only tried playing Wii titles so far, but I expect GameCube titles to run just as well, if not better. I had some very weird stuff happen when setting up my controller, where it would swap the axes of my joysticks for some reason, but after spending about an hour remapping the controller over and over and over again, it randomly worked. So if I just leave it untouched, it should be fine too, right? Alright, last one, which is the Nintendo 3DS. This one worked great too, but I had more issues with this than any other emulator. I wanted to use Citra at first, which is available, but it kept failing to install. Same story for Lime 3DS, so I went with Azahar instead. Azahar works fine, but I tried playing Super Mario 3D Land with a 4K texture pack I usually use, and the emulator would just give up and crash after selecting the save file. The game works without the texture pack, but obviously I prefer it if it just worked instead. I had another controller issue here where assigning diagonal directions would not work, so in game I couldn't go diagonal. I just did the remapping thing again, pressed some random button, and suddenly I could go diagonal without assigning it. Seriously, I don't know what the fuck actually to make it work here. I guess I got lucky. Anyways, that's all for gaming and emulation. It is 3 a.m. and I'm writing this part of the script and just want to sleep. Okay. Yeah, man, I should hire a scriptwriter at this point. What the fuck is this shit? If gaming's so great, why isn't there a gaming 2? Oh,
So that's pretty
I
nice.
see.
This is so freaking cool.
So this one is going to be surprisingly interesting, I think. Before I went ahead to set up VR on my own, I did a little research. Very thorough research. And read that apparently X11 works best with Steam VR. Oh, don't know what X11 is? Well, I'm gonna give you a horrible explanation, so suit yourself. Unlike on dumb little Windows, on Linux you actually get the decision to choose your desktop environment. This essentially is the backbone of your taskbar, start menu, and believe it or not, your desktop. Windows actually uses a desktop environment too, known as Explorer, but obviously, you don't have any other option available for Windows.
Actually, there is, but only one for like Windows XP and nobody cares about it anyway.
Mike1JD made a video on this, if you're interested. Linux has countless of desktop environments available, with the popular ones being GNOME, XFCE, I think. I don't know any of these personally from experience or anything, and KDE. I went with KDE because this is the closest to Windows Explorer as Linux can get, and I'm not used to any of the other ones at all. And by the looks of it, I don't even think I'll like those anyway. Once you have your desktop environment, you also have to choose a window manager. I don't know exactly what that contributes to the OS, but this is what X11 is. It's a window manager for KDE alongside Wayland. Now, the reason I'm explaining all this boogaloo is because the big GPT said to use X11, but I'm on Wayland, actually. But then I found out you can kind of dual wield window managers and switch between them whenever it's necessary, so I installed the necessities and switching to X11 made my PC crash. Maybe I should reboot because the packages have to be applied or something. Nope, yet another crash. Well, even though there's also X-Wayland, which is a Wayland tool that kind of simulates how a app would run if you were an X11, this allegedly wouldn't work well with Steam VR specifically, and so I'm lost. But then I had the dumbest idea. Fuck GPT. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm just gonna install Steam VR and see if it works on Wayland. And funnily enough, it worked. Suddenly I'm out here playing Beat Saber as if I'm back on Windows. I'm actually surprised given last time I tried out Linux, Steam VR itself would run on about 5 FPS and games wouldn't launch. Then I decided to check out how I'm gonna mod the game, and to my surprise and salvation, BS Manager, a unofficial launcher of sorts, has a native Linux build available. I was kind of scared it might not work, but I decided to at least give it a try. And not only did it find my game installs when I specified an installation path, it also asked me to specify the location of the desired Proton version, which gave me just that tiny spark of hope that it will actually work. And work it did. The game launched, and I immediately was greeted with the customization, mods, and custom maps that I had applied back when I was on Windows. And you know what? I'm feeling generous today. Here, have some gameplay to watch as a little break from all the nerdy yapping. But if you don't care, you can skip ahead to this timestamp right here.
Quoi la chanson que tu chantes sous la douche?
Ouais, ouais, formidable, de Charlie Oleg et de François Choron.
C'est quoi la meilleure chanson pour un samedi soir?
Ouais, ouais.
Well, that sure was some Beat Saber and everything works great, but guess what? It works great, but not perfect. Yeah. There's actually one time apparently the recording broke for whatever reason. So now I have to state what the hell I said in that part. I don't know why. All I said was that there's one small issue. I mean, I think you can hear it anyways, but like, it... What the hell, man? I faced during gameplay. On the game window, it may look fine, but from my view through the headset, the camera is rather sensitive to head movement. A slight shift of my head gets interpreted as a whole headbang or something, which makes it extremely difficult to see the notes coming at me. when I'm in a physically intensive map that requires a lot of movement. I decided to ask around in the Dutch Beat Saber community, as that's kind of the only Beat Saber community I'm comfortable speaking in, even though nobody takes me serious there. And they shouldn't, because I'm autistic as fuck. They didn't have any advice for me and sent me to another server instead. Something along the lines of VR on Linux experience or something. And I ended up not joining because I'm autistic as fuck, can't set my priorities right, and don't want to embarrass myself. I decided to contact a buddy of mine to see if maybe he has a bit of an understanding of my issue. While I waited for a response, I tried checking the web again, which told me to enable legacy projection mode in the Steam VR settings. From my understanding, it changes how the headset and controllers are being tracked, but this did not seem to help here. Alright, I got my response and he doesn't know. And no, I'm not gonna go ahead and join that server. Okay, you know what? I am, but just not right now, okay? Not right now. So now I tried playing the VR mod for Half-Life 2, which also did not work. This is because the mod fails to communicate with Steam VR. I don't know how to fix this. I did try some stuff though, and whether that works or not will be shown on screen. I will do the same with showing if Dolphin VR, which is a VR version of the Wii and GameCube emulator, works, because I simply do not care to talk about it. I'm tired of shit, especially from all this VR on Linux stuff. Okay, so we got most of the gaming working on Linux, but I also make gaming videos, so now we're gonna have to figure out how I'm actually gonna make these videos. First up, we got recording. This was actually extremely easy. OBS Studio is available natively, and I was able to easily import my settings and set up the scenes for the recording and streaming sessions. Then I noticed my keyboard shortcuts to start and end recordings did not work. Well, they did, but only if the OBS window is focused. Thankfully though, this was easy to fix, as I can make the program run in the X-Wayland mode I mentioned way earlier in this video.
What the heck?
And that's all I had to do to make it work. So I edited the application menu shortcut so that it always opens in X-Wayland mode. Then I hit another problem. There's no game capture source? Well, there is, but it doesn't do anything, basically. Apparently I have to use screen capture as alternative. There's just no better solution. At first I was skeptic, scared that it'd literally capture the screen as it says, but thankfully it doesn't actually. It can also capture individual windows. This source does cause the KDE portal to open every single time it can't find the window to capture. So I just turned off the window detection option, and that did not work, by the way. The script says it does, but it doesn't. It just ignores the setting for whatever section. So, where was I again? The screen capture source unfortunately does not support transparency on Windows. So for my PNG tuber, I just set the background color to a color that has nothing to do with my character, and then used a chroma key filter to make it seem like there's transparency. It's slightly less clean, but gets the job done, I guess. Okay, now we got to the real problem. The monster terrorizing my little Linux ecosystem. Oh god. Who in their fucked up mind had the idea to have some of their products rely on proprietary drivers that are only available on Windows? Like, come on, man, you've clearly proven with your newer models of the HD60 that it's not necessary. I guess I'm just unlucky to have the unk of captured cards. Reliable, sure, but not supported on Linux. But, which at this point doesn't even surprise me anymore, there's an unofficial driver available, and why is it failing to build? Yeah, so what I wanted to say is someone made alternative drivers for some Elgato capture cards, but I can't get them installed for some reason, so I don't even know if they work. Bummer, but my hope wasn't completely lost yet. This is the part where I'm gonna address that lie from the beginning of the intro. I got the idea to install a virtual machine to try and use the capture card on there, but this was no ordinary virtual machine. This was specifically set to run Tiny 11, a version of Windows 11 that is, well, tiny in size and bypasses most of Microsoft's crazy minimum requirements. I also planned to not give it any internet access, so I downloaded all the installers for drivers and programs on Linux, moved them to a USB, and then mounted the USB on the virtual machine, and to my surprise, capturing my Wii U was going pretty well, until I noticed tiny lag spikes which pissed me off, so I changed some settings which then fried the capture card. Oops. Well, this is it. There's just gonna be no way for me to use the capture card on my PC. But I still have one trick up my sleeve. I still have a crappy Windows laptop that I literally never use, so I guess I'll be using it specifically for recording Wii and Wii U footage. Don't worry, I already got an idea of how to do this neat and conveniently. Okay, now that we got recording working, it's time for the truly most important part, editing. I already knew my editing program of choice, DaVinci Resolve, is available on Linux, but the first time I tried to install it 3 years ago, it would fail to launch. Well, this time, it actually worked like a charm. I don't think I did anything different from back then, and it just worked. But then, just like any perfect movie, the plot twist of a lifetime happened. The Linux version of DaVinci Resolve does not support MP4 video. This is due to some licensing issues, I think. Apparently the studio version of this program does support it, but do I look like the type of guy to have about 300 spare euros for a program? No. So as any other brokey would, I figured out what formats do work, and then I found it. MOV with some very odd codec I've never heard of before going to Linux. I was ready to switch, I had already changed my OBS settings as it thankfully supports it out of box, and then I got the shock of my life. These files are big. Huge, I'm telling you. A 2-minute video was already 800 megabytes. Now I do have Handbrake, which is a video transcoder and compressor, but I don't want any quality loss of my videos. Then I found DaVinconv, which is a command line tool that quickly converts any MP4 to the exact required format. You can even run it in a directory to convert... Oh my god guys, end of the world alert. Oh, where was I? You can even run it in a directory to convert multiple videos at once. And that gave me an idea. I could record MP4s at all times for whenever I'm not going to edit my footage, and whenever I do, I'll just run DaVinconv on the footage so that only that is large in size and only temporarily, as I'll then delete it when the edited video is done. What I did do though is run DaVinconv on every video I commonly use, such as memes, green screen stuff, and whatever else, so that I don't have to do that over and over again whenever I need these. Oh, and by the way, exporting goes in that same format, so if YouTube supports it, I'll just upload whatever Resolve spits at me, and if not, I'll have to convert it back to MP4. Lastly, a video needs a thumbnail, of course. On Windows, I made these using an image editor known as Paint.net, which, by the way, is actually quite a horrible program, but I liked it for whatever reason. However, this is unfortunately only available on Windows, and so I went on yet another journey to find a good alternative. And oh boy, I actually found a better program, Photobee. This is a web app that literally has Photoshop features, but is completely free. You only pay a fee if you want to get rid of ads, and if you have an ad blocker, well, yeah, that works too. The thumbnail for this very video was made on Photobee, actually. Anyways, I think I finished setting up my Linux system. It looks great, works even better, especially better than I thought it would. Most of my necessities are present, and I'm feeling very confident about the idea of staying on the platform. So I hope you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe if you do and are interested in my playthroughs, and maybe use that new hype feature if it's available to you. I don't know, it isn't available to me and I don't know how it works, so just see what you can do, I guess. Anyways, that was my first scripted video, definitely not the last. Please enjoy your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye! A whole headbang or something, which makes it extremely